Dress up your Christmas tree by creating a new tree skirt using festive fabric, fusible fleece, and jumbo-size fusible piping. We've streamlined sewing without compromising the design. The Christmas tree skirt that we're working with is made with 2.5 yards of fabric. It'll be approximately a 40-inch Christmas tree skirt, and you'll need the jumbo wrap-infused piping along with a 1/2 yard of fabric that's needed for the bias around the inner circle and to cover the jumbo piping. I like to make a pattern first. Making a pattern with a circle is never easier than with a yardstick compass. Using your favorite yardstick, the compass has 2 elements. The pointed end is screwed to the 0 end of the yardstick, and then the point with the pencil, we're going to place it about at between 20 and 21 inches. You can make this really any size you'd like. You'll need some paper to do the tracing, and I'm using pattern tracing paper, and I have about a 45-inch length or so, the paper folded in half. This paper is 22 inches wide approximately, and then you place the tip of the yardstick compass at the fold and the edge at that corner, and then simply mark all the way around. You get a half circle marked, or a quarter circle in this instance. Because the paper's folded, you'll have the marking after we trace it and cut it. And now we'll simply move the pencil point. I'm going to move it to 5 inches. And the 5-inch marking is on my side, so I'll just look to the other side and screw the pencil point at that marking, keeping the point of the compass at the same area. Then mark the other portion of the quarter circle. Now, using your paper scissors, cut out the 2 circle shapes. And now you're going to be cutting out the layers of fabric. As I mentioned, 2.5 yards of fabric are needed. You'll be cutting 2 layers, 2 full circles. This is cut on the fold for the outer fabric and the lining, and then 1 layer for the fleece. And we have slit each of the circles for the opening so you can see the size. To make it a little bit easier for you to see and for me to work with, we're going to work with half-scale sizes of the yardstick compass measurement and also subsequently the size of the tree skirt. Here I have the outer fabric and the fleece pinned together. Now it's time to make the fusible piping. When creating this, you'll need to cut 2.5-inch bias strips of the fabric. And then here we have the jumbo piping. Wrap the bias around the fabric, and you may want to put a pin every now and then. And because this is fusible, the first step is done by the iron rather than at the sewing machine. We just run the tip of the iron along the edge, trying to match the cut edges. Just glide along, and you get a nice tight fit of the cording that's been wrapped and fused around the fabric. So you'll be fusing quite a bit of yardage to go around the outer area, and we're starting at the inner circle, placing the edges, the cut edges together and pin. Now, because this piping is jumbo-sized, you'll have to kind of work around a little bit, just pin the areas together. And as you're working at the back, at the cut section, mold the piping around the edge to round the corner and pin along the edges. At the sewing machine, set your machine for a straight stitch using a zipper foot. Notice that the zipper foot is positioned at the far left. Stitch right along the piping, all the way around from the inner part of the circle, outer edges, and then back to the inner part. This small sample has been stitched. You can see that the stitching is complete along the edges. Now sandwich the fabrics together, placing the lining fabric and pin. On this sample, it's been pinned. Restitch, stitching along with that same zipper foot. This time I move the needle 1 notch over to the left so that I get a nice tight stitch. You can turn the Christmas tree skirt right side out. And in this sample, it's been turned right side out, or almost right side out. Here we go. We have it turned right side out. And then I made 2 yards of bias tape, cutting 2-inch wide strips. Using your favorite technique, center the bias tape at the center opening of the inner circle. Stitch the bias tape around the edge, and then wrap, again using your favorite bias tape technique. Let's take a final look at our finished Christmas tree skirt. In an evening of time, you can add jumbo piping around the edges, stitching and lining, and then adding the bias tape around the center for a new festive look for the holidays. Find the notions you need to create your tree skirt, including the yardstick compass and fusible piping, at Nancy's Notions. Order your supplies today.